Is facing felony charges after allegedly faking one son's illness and treating her two other kids for diseases they didn't actually have. Authorities arrested Jordan Nicole Borders, a 32-year-old mother in Cross Lake, on a warrant on Wednesday following a months-long investigation by the Crow Wing County Sheriff's Office, court records show. She is charged with several counts of child torture and stalking. According to a criminal complaint, first reported by local news outlet Fox 9, Borders withdrew blood from her 9-year-old son and flushed it down the toilet before his doctor's visits. The filing suggests Borders did so in order to keep the child sick. The complaint indicates that the boy told investigators that Borders kept drawing my blood and blood and blood using a syringe and a peripherally inserted central catheter, PICC, line, and that she warned him, "Don't tell anyone." Borders withdrew the blood, causing her son's hemoglobin to deplete.
What's up, What It White Boy Radio, back with another one. Hey, this is a pretty sick story. I made a post the other night. I've been watching Stalkers on Netflix. They say only 5 or 7% of those people actually get caught and convicted. So that reminded me of Sperm Squad with Doug Live from Northport. This lady here in the story stalked her own kids, tortured them by doing weird stuff with their blood, needles and whatnot. It's a disturbing story, but we just covered something similar to this. A couple of YouTubers working on another YouTube channel that did something similar to this, made their own kids sick for donations just like this one. Look, man, I'm not gonna do the commentary on this. I'm gonna play like the intro there and let the robot lady read it so it's nice and clear. I'm not stuttering this and that because I think it's that important. Look, I will say this before we get to the story. It's the internet, people. This is a haven of there's a lot of weirdos on the internet, no doubt about it. A lot of scumbags on the internet, no doubt about it. But there's a lot of good people on the internet, good-hearted people. With true crime and grief, with loss of kid, with crime in general, people know how to pull on those heartstrings. You see it all the time in this genre. You can't tell me that you don't. And if you don't, open your eyes. Be careful who you trust. But there's a lot of people like this on the internet. It takes a special type of scumbag. I don't have words for it. To take their own kids, torture their own kids, make them sick, stalk their own kids, which is very weird, very weird. And the donations on this one were from seeking revenue from the state, from however they did that, and also donations as in GoFundMe's and whatnot. Listen, please do me a favor. This goes to everybody. Never ask me to share a GoFundMe. I will never do it. I will never do it. I've never made one for myself, and I've been in predicaments where I could use the help of the internet. I just don't ask. So I'm not going to share anyone's GoFundMe. I believe that's a great way to crowdfund, a great way to get a group of people to get money together. But I believe that it's been tarnished when it comes to the YouTube. So just I want to say that and be very firm about it. Never ask me to share it. Never. The answer is never. Okay, let's hear the story, man. And this is sick. Be careful out there, man. There's weirdos everywhere. Smash and subscribe. Hit that like button. And if you can, join below. Hashtag save our children. Robot lady.
9-year-old was hospitalized in March of this year with the concern of his hemoglobin numbers dropping, the complaint states, adding that the only explanation of his numbers dropping is that someone was removing blood from his body. Borders allegedly claimed that the hospital's lab removed too much blood from her son. But her two other children told police they witnessed their mom take blood from their brother frequently and that she ordered them to discard it in the toilet. The complaint says that an 8-year-old sister told cops that Borders collected the blood in a cup. Meanwhile, the mom is accused of self-diagnosing the 8 and 11-year-old siblings with osteogenesis imperfecta, also known as brittle bones disease. Borders may have had a motive in keeping her kids sick, or at least appearing sick. The complaint says she was receiving funds from the state to care for the 9-year-old, along with gifts and cash totaling more than $35,000 from several local nonprofits. While the other 2 children didn't have injuries, the document states, boarders forced them to wear casts and neck braces. The 11-year-old son told investigators that boarders stole supplies from a local hospital and used them to place casts on him. Cops discovered the boy has been in a cast for 796 days, or around 2 years and 2 months of his life, the document alleges. A forensic interview conducted on November 21st revealed even more disturbing accusations against boarders, according to the complaint. The 11-year-old son told investigators that boarders would choke all 3 children and throw them across the house. She also allegedly threatened the 9-year-old boy with a hammer and, in at least one episode, threw it at him.
What the frig?
Boarders would make them all stand outside in just underwear for a long time and stay in their rooms unless she wanted something. Then they could come out to do something for her, the filing adds. They had to clean the house, do the dishes, laundry, etc. When boarders asked the 11-year-old to fetch her something and he didn't hear her, she allegedly grabbed him by the throat and held him against the wall. The child told police boarders attacked him that day while he was reading a book. The complaint says that boarders choked him for so long he couldn't breathe and his vision went blurry before she threw him against the wall.
Wow.
The oldest sibling added that boarders would make the children go outside in the cold for long periods of time and hit him with a spoon, charging cords, and a belt with things on it. According to the sibling, boarders made him tell people his 9-year-old brother couldn't walk. The 11-year-old also said boarders ordered him to puke at the doctor's office and forced him to cough so that doctors would think he had asthma when he really didn't. The complaint alleges the 11-year-old would get asthma medication, but he didn't need it and that sometimes his dad would use it. The 9-year-old shared similar accusations with cops, saying his mother would choke him and his siblings and force them to go outside in winter. The boy said he was super cold and his legs and feet were burning, the filing alleges. He doesn't know why they had to go outside. Asked about a typical day living with boarders, the boy said, "I was never safe." Boarders also fed the 9-year-old through a PICC line when it wasn't medically necessary, the complaint alleges. The child had tried to sneak food into his room, but boarders and his father would search his room and find it, then punish him with spankings. The boy also reported that he had to sleep on the floor with no clothes on, the filing continues. He never had a bed. An 8-year-old sister told authorities that boarders warned her and her siblings that she'd kill them, and that boarders had threatened her 9-year-old brother the most. The complaint states that the girl would hear the 9-year-old brother screaming when boarders brought him to his bedroom. Like her siblings, the sister told investigators boarders would choke her until she couldn't walk and felt like she was going to pass out. The complaint also suggests at least one teacher grew suspicious of what was happening at home. The girl told police that on one occasion, boarders busted her 9-year-old brother's head and caused it to bleed. Boarders falsely told the teacher that the boy hit his head against the corner of a wall, the filing adds. It's unclear whether the children's father knew the truth of the kids' injuries and fake illnesses. The sister reported that boarders wouldn't allow the 9-year-old boy to walk when their father was home and he was ordered to stay in a wheelchair. The girl told cops that if their dad knew the boy could walk, he would realize boarders was lying. According to the document, the sister said boarders would tell the 9-year-old to say bad words to their father so that he would hit him. The sister also reported that boarders instructed her to bite her mom so she could blame them.